Here is your African update. How the West is fueling the war in Ethiopia by supporting and funding Tigray terrorist group. The war in Ethiopia between the federal government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front has resumed at full scale. The route back to negotiation is uncertain at best. The two sides agree that first shots were fired in the early morning of 24th of August on the southern border of Tigray, where it adjoins the neighboring Amhara state, at the town of Kobo, with each side blaming the other for firing those shots. Meanwhile, forced mass conscription by the TPLF has swelled its ranks, and it has devoted much of its resources to training and rearming, although it has denied forced recruitment. It is believed the group captured a huge arsenal from the federal army in last year's fighting, and there are rumors that it has also received weapons from abroad. 2 days before it resumed the war by launching the attack on Kobo on August 24th, the TPLF had dismissed AU's credibility and essentially called for Western intervention in an article published in the African Report on 22nd August. In the article, the group condemned the AU for claiming that there is hope for an imminent diplomatic breakthrough with respect to peace talks. The Ethiopian government responded by saying it was dismissing non-African proposal for peace and sees any other intervention as a form of neocolonialism. It also cautioned the international community against what it deemed as Pan-African sabotage. By calling for Western intervention, it has seen that the TPLF has finally declared the truth about itself, that it's a protege of external forces, mainly the US and the EU. With backing of the US, the TPLF has ruled Ethiopia as an authoritarian state for nearly 3 decades, since 1991, when all political parties outside the ruling coalition, led by itself, were banned. There was no space for free press. Ethiopia during this period also disintegrated into a loose federation of ethnicity, organized regional states, with each having their own militia. It has recently also come to light that some international institutions like the UN, WFP, and USAID have also been a part of fueling the war and supporting the TPLF agenda, with a recent example being how the food aid given out by USAID to supposedly feed innocent and hungry people in the Tigray region is ending up in the hands of the terrorist group, with the international organizations claiming that the groups had stolen the aid, which is highly questionable as there seems to be no accountability from the aid groups. In 2018, mass pro-democracy protests forced the TPLF out of power at the center and reduced it to only a regional force in Tigray alone. Abiy Ahmed came to fore at this time as a progressive prime minister with a vision of inclusive Ethiopian nationalism that transcended ethnic divisions. Apart from opening up political space within the country and allowing free press, Ahmed reforms also extended to foreign policy. Signing a peace deal with Eritrea soon after becoming the prime minister, Abiy ended up decades-long conflict with a northern neighbor that TPLF had declared and continued to regard as an enemy. He followed it up with a tripartite agreement in which Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia declared that the conflict between the three states had been resolved and their relations had entered a new phase based on cooperation. It is believed that such a resolution of antagonism between African states and people is not appreciated by the United States or the European Union. They find this a very bad example because in the long term, it might weaken and eventually collapse the African so-called NATO, namely the US Command AFRICOM. All diplomatic maneuvers of the Biden administration and the UN have since aimed at depicting the Ethiopian federal government, which is fighting a defensive war, as the aggressor. The US has also announced several sanctions against Ethiopia. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, follow, share, and like our video. It's the best way of supporting us. And remember, Africa is watching.